What's going on, Lions Den family, and welcome back to the channel. God bless y'all. God bless y'all. God bless y'all. I want to say I appreciate the love and the support. And as always, before we get into the video, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you share this video with anybody that you feel will need this video on today. But let's go ahead and get into the message for today because we got a good one.
Walk it like I talk it, yeah, I walk it. Yeah. Flowers never grow without some water.
So for today's word, we're going to be in the book of Ruth, chapter 1 in the Amplified version. And we're going to start off reading from verse 6 and we're going to read to verse 18. And this word has been stirring in my spirit because as we crossed over into this new year, there's something that God put in my spirit about us having to make a decision on whether we're going to go forward or we're going to go backwards, right? And in this passage, we see three decisions be made, right? Based upon loss, based upon tragedy, right? Based upon something that has happened or taken place that causes these three women to make a decision as it happens to us in our lives, right? Oftentimes we go through things, we experience things, we come across things. God allows some things to transpire in our lives or on our path or on our journey to where we come to this fork in the road to where we have to make what I would like to call the most important decision of our lives, right? And oftentimes when we're making decisions, we're basing our decisions based upon either how we feel or where we are or the things that happen to us, the things that we go through or we experience and how hard that they either hit or how bearable the hit is, right? And so we find ourselves after Naomi lost her husband and then her two sons who were married to Ruth and Orpah. Now they find themselves in a place to where the decisions are going to have to start being made. And Naomi is the first one to make a decision because she makes a decision to go back to her land where she is from. And so it starts off and it says in verse 6, then she set out with her daughters-in-law to return from the country of Moab, for she had heard in Moab how the Lord had taken care of his people of Judah and giving them food. So she's coming from a place of lack, of loss, of famine, and she hears back in her homeland that God is doing a new thing, that God is doing a great thing, that he's providing, that he's making a way, that he's stirring up favor in her homeland. So she makes her decision to say, you know what, I'm going to go back to where I'm from and I'm going to go and partake in this blessing that God is doing, right? And so it says in verse 7, so she left the place where she was living, her two daughters-in-law with her, and they started on their way back to the land of Judah. Now, not all the time in our life will it be a good decision to go back. But in this case, what she was facing, it was the best decision that she could make for herself was to go back, right? And so it says in verse 8, but Naomi said to her daughters-in-law, go back, each of you return to your mother's house. May the Lord show kindness to you as you have shown kindness to the dead and me. Now she's suggesting that they go back to where they came from because where she feels now is that I have nothing else to offer you. You were married to my sons who died and now I have nothing that I can offer you. She's letting them know it's okay. Whatever decision and choice that you make at this moment, I want you to know that it's okay because I understand where you are and I understand where we are and what time and place in life and season we are in, right? And so it says that may the Lord grant that you find rest, each one in the home of her husband. Then she kissed them goodbye and they wept aloud. And they said to her, no, we will go with you to your people in Judah. This right here in this moment, this was the best decision, right? This was the best decision because they were choosing to go forward in spite of the hurt, in spite of the pain, in spite of the loss, in spite of the things that has transpired and taken place. They made a decision, both of them, to go forward, right? And in life, sometimes it's it's hard for us to choose forwardness when we are so focused on the pain, when we are so focused on the loss, when we are so focused on the detrimental things that have happened to us, that we have overcome or that we have gone through. It's hard for us in a split second to decide to say, you know what, I'm going to keep living. I'm going to keep going forward. I'm going to keep choosing to grow. I'm going to keep choosing God. I'm going to keep choosing what's ahead of me, right? And so in this moment, they chose to say, you know what? No, we're going to continue to go with you. But what changed? Right? It says, but Naomi said, go back, my daughters. Why should you go with me? Do I still have sons in my womb that they may become your husbands? Go back, my daughters, for I am too old to have a husband. If I said I have hope, and if I actually had a husband tonight and even gave birth to sons, would you wait until they were grown? Would you go without marrying? No, my daughters, for it is much more difficult for me than for you, because the Lord's hand has gone against me. So now what happens is in this moment is that there is a shift, right? And what the shift is that Naomi is starting to basically to get them to go back. She's basically letting them know that I am okay with where I am at, but also she starts to limit what it is that God could possibly do in this moment, right? Oftentimes when we take our situations and we look at our situation and we start to look at it with a negative perspective, we start to limit not only ourselves, but we start to limit God, right? We start to talk against what God can do because we don't know in our steps forward what God can do, what can happen, what can unfold. We don't know those things, right? But what Naomi is doing is that she starts to take it personal, right? She starts to take the loss personal. This is something God is doing against me. God has literally moved his hand against me. God has allowed me to suffer this. This is something that basically like I did something wrong. And so God is punishing me in a sense, right? And so she's basically telling them, look, I'm too old. I don't have no plans on marrying again. And even if I did, what, you gonna wait until my sons get older if I gave birth to sons and you just gonna stop your life? You gonna stop your life and you just not gonna marry, you're not gonna enjoy your life? No, you're not gonna do that. So what I want you to do is I want you to understand what I'm saying to you. I've made peace with what has happened in my life, and I'm okay if I don't ever experience that again. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back to my land, and what I want you to do is I want you to go back to your mother's land, right? And in that moment, one of their minds change. One of their minds shift, because what happens is one is still focused on the forward and one starts to focus on the words of what Naomi is saying. It does make sense because there's nothing else here for me, right? Rather than looking at the opportunity to be there for Naomi, to support Naomi and to support her in what has happened, and for y'all to all grow together and to get healing together and everything like that, Orpah changes her mind. She changes her mind from being willing to go forward, and then she changes her mind. And this is what happens. It says, then they wept aloud again, and Orpah kissed her mother-in-law goodbye, but it says Ruth clung to her. We could take this in a sense of choosing God, choosing his plans, choosing the things that he has in store for us, choosing our forwardness in God, or choosing the pain, choosing to wallow in the pain, choosing to sit in the pain, choosing to go back into darkness, choosing to go back into places that God has already called us out of. This is where we have to make a decision, right? And so Orpah, her mind shifts from I'm going to go to where she starts to consider the things that Naomi has said. And this is why it's good for you to stand firm on what it is that you choose to do when God gives you the strength to choose forwardness because they were given strength to choose forwardness in spite of what happened, right? But as she started to take in the words, and this is why it's important for you to be careful on what it is that you're listening to or who you're following or the words that you're taking on in your life or in your mind, because what you allow yourself to hear or what you feed yourself, it can alter your decisions. It can have an effect on what it is that you're choosing to do, right? And so now Orpah chooses to go back, but it says Ruth chose to cling to Naomi. And it says, then Naomi said, look, your sister-in-law has gone back to her people and to her gods. Turn back and follow your sister-in-law. In other words, she is going back. She doesn't see a need to keep going forward. She doesn't see a need to keep this connection alive. So what's best for her is to go back to where she came from and what she has always known and what she has always felt comfortable in and who she has always known. But you're still here. Go back, do what she did. But one thing I love about what Ruth did is Ruth was not only loyal to Naomi, she wasn't only loyal because she was married to her sons. Ruth was loyal to God. Ruth was loyal to her healing. Ruth was loyal to her deliverance. Ruth was loyal to her forwardness, right? This was the difference between Ruth and Orpah, is that Ruth was loyal to bettering her life, to choosing what's best for her life, to making the right decision for her life. Her loyalty was with God. Her loyalty was in the things that God, she was being led by God and not her feelings. She was being led by God and not her emotions. She was being led by God and not what she can benefit from the situation, right? And because of that, as you read on, God blessed her tremendously. But it says that, but Ruth said, do not urge me to leave you or turn back from following you. For where you go, I will go, and where you lodge, I will lodge. Your people will be my people, and your God, my God. Where you die, I will die, and there I will be buried. May the Lord do the same to me as he has done to you, and more also, if anything but death separates me from you. It says, when Naomi saw that Ruth was determined to go with her, she said nothing more. She didn't try to persuade her anymore. She didn't try to get her to look at what Orpah was doing anymore. She didn't have any more words to say, because she saw that no matter what I do, no matter what I say, this woman is determined. And when the enemy sees that you are determined to follow God, when the enemy sees that he cannot easily persuade you, he cannot easily shift your mind, he cannot easily change your course of life, he cannot easily take you off the path that God has you on. When he sees that, and when he sees that you are firm in your decision that I'm going to choose to follow God, I'm going to choose to serve God in spite of whatever I go through. When Job made up in his mind, it don't matter what God took from me. It don't matter that God took his children. It don't matter that God took his riches, that God took all his cattle. It don't matter that Job still chose to serve God. He said, though he slay me, yet will I trust a Koshanda, yet will I trust him. God is wanting us to make a decision today. God is wanting us to make a decision for this year going forward. Are you choosing your forwardness? Are you choosing to be Ruth, or are you choosing to be Orpah? Is it better for you to keep going, or is it better for you to quit and give up and go back? The choice and the decision is yours. But if it was me, I choose to be Ruth. I choose to keep going forward. I choose to keep going where God is leading. I choose growth. I choose what's higher. I choose what's better, because I know what's behind me and what everything behind me has to offer. But I don't know what's up ahead of me. But one thing I know is that God is leading me, and as long as God is leading me, what's up ahead of me is worth much more than anything that can be behind me or anything that I could possibly choose to go back to. So with this word on today, I want to encourage you to make a decision, to make up your mind. Are you going to go forward and choose God and choose all that God has for you? Or are you going to go back? Are you going to go back to what you have always known, to comfort, to where you have been before, to live what you have already lived? The choice is yours, and it's time to make a decision. But God bless y'all. God keep y'all. God cover y'all. God strengthen y'all. And as I always say, be encouraged, get inspired, and stay uplifted. Again, hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment below. Let me know I'm going forward or I'm going backwards. I'm Ruth, I'm Orpah. But God bless y'all, and until next time.
Wisdom is for free, but yet it's overpriced. And I never seen success happen overnight.